Today's project is going to be to cut my windshield down. My camera lens is about eye level, so this is my view, and I put that tape, I think that's where I want to cut it down to. I think maybe a little lower than that. I could see the road over the tape for the most part. If I kind of crane my neck up, I can definitely see over the tape. I'm gonna take it on the road and see what it looks like. Okay, now I'm on the road. This is exactly what I see with my eyes. And if I lift up, I can see much more. If I'm sitting comfortable, like I'll be riding, that's about what I'm gonna see. I think that's about right. When the rain hits this, I'm just riding blind, like riding down the road, like may as well be like this. I can't see anything when, and I can't crane my head up enough to really see over it in the rain unless I stand up on my pegs a little. So this is a comfortable riding spot. I'm not straining. I can see over it. I can still duck under it. I think that'll work. So for this step, I just got a piece of cardboard and clamped it on, and using a black marker I traced the curve of the windshield down to about here. And my plan is to cut the cardboard along this line, drop the cardboard down, and then draw on here where I'm cutting. And I guess we'll see if that works. Okay, so I cut the cardboard. I marked the lowest spot with a dot there from the top where I want it to be, the new top. But this doesn't work like I hoped because there's a lot of plastic windshield sticking out over here. I don't want to have to cut way down here. I think I can't use the same exact curved surface. I'm gonna have to change this is gonna have to come out more, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna freehand that. I'm play with some options here, figure out something. Okay, here's what I came up with. It's gonna be hard to show with one hand, but I'm gonna try. I found this yardstick, so I centered it on this screw, which is centered in the windshield, and that's about how far down I wanted to come. So I put my marker right there at 14 1/4, and trying to keep that on the screw, I just rotated it and put my, held the marker there and just drew that line. So kind of that outer thicker line is 14 1/4 inches from that screw hole in the middle of the brace here for the windshield. So I don't know, that's all I could come up with. I think it'll work. So to cut this, I'm using a Dremel style rotary tool with just a cutting blade. This is actually a metal cutting blade, but it's burning, it's melting through the plastic, and it's working okay. And I just meticulously working through like that. My blade's too wide to curve well, so I'm having to do 1,000 straight cuts at a slight angle each. I might try and see if I can find a smaller blade, but anyway, that's how we're getting through the windshield. Awkwardly holding this with my left hand so you can see what's happened here. My Dremel tool, ender, back in the garage, buddy. Go back, go back. Back in the garage. Back in the garage. Good. Stay. Of course, they're perfect until the video comes on, right? Animals and children. Never count on them. Okay, so my Dremel's died, basically. It just won't cut anymore. That's it. It's not overheating, but it's giving me the flash like it's overheated, but it's a brand new battery in it. And yeah, so I guess we'll come back to this tomorrow. Okay, well, been to Home Depot, got a new Dremel tool, about to get to work to finish this cut. I only have from here to here left to go. I did leave a part of this connected over here so that the whole thing doesn't get floppy. And once I've cut through this, I'm worried about this is going to be floppy and it might splinter or tear this with the weight. And I don't have a friend to hold it or anything. I'm going to have to be creative, and I think I'll probably put several pieces of tape to just hold this in place so that it doesn't get too loose and floppy as I cut through it. We'll see how that works. Putting the tape over it to hold it from flopping worked pretty well. Here's the piece I just pulled off. May not look like much, but it's the difference between being able to see over the windshield or having to look through it during the rain. And looking through it during the rain is hazardous. So I think that will work better. I like the way it turned out. It's got a good angle curve to it. Now I'm just gonna have to go back with sandpaper and smooth out. You know, there's some rough bits. Doesn't look that bad, but I'm gonna smooth it out with some sandpaper. And I think I'm gonna leave the tape on while I sand it to try to help me not accidentally sand this side of it or the inside of it. I've got tape on the inside too. I'm gonna try to just sand the edge. Okay, I'm gonna say something about sanding here. Somebody watching this may not know. You probably know, but if not, you see how there's a little bit of discolor right here? All that looks the same. It's all the same, but you can see like a discolor. So that's not sanded smooth. It's not ground down well yet. So I always start with the roughest paper that I think the material can handle, maybe like 80 grit, 100 grit. And then once that's as smooth as that sandpaper can make it, then I go down to the smaller grit, like maybe 200 grit, and then 400, then 600. So it's just to make things as easy as possible on yourself. You keep sanding that area until it's the same color as everything else, and once it's the same, there's still a little bit, so I got to keep going. Then you switch to the smaller grit sandpaper, finer and finer grit until it's just glass smooth. Okay, here's a close-up look at the edge after I finished. It's a little bit lighter in color than the factory edge, but feels just as smooth in my finger. I even managed to give it a slight bevel because I noticed the factory has a slight bevel. So I think it turned out pretty well. For just won't focus on it, will it? Maybe if I put my finger there, will it focus? It's not going to focus on the edge. Well, sorry I can't get it in focus, but I think it turned out pretty well. Okay, so here's the result. This is now what my eye can see. Sitting regular riding position, not stretching my neck up. And if I kind of lift my head up a little, then I can see this much of the road. So I think that's pretty good. Well, I'll know for sure when the next time I have to drive in the rain, but I think that's gonna work. And this was certainly cheaper than buying a new windshield, and I am married, so I'm definitely on a budget.